Hi everyone, I'm Scott from Costumers for Christ and you're watching Creative Costuming. Now, before you say anything, I know it's been over a year since I posted a video and I apologize for that, but it has been a super crazy year for us. For starters, my wife and I adopted a beautiful baby girl, and so we now have 4 kids. That's another sidekick for all our costuming and comic conventions. And I also spent this past year working on this super cool comic book for our ministry. We'll be giving these away at all of the conventions that we attend throughout the year. So if you'd like to know more about that or where you can get a copy, just click the link in the description below. But that's not why you're here. You want to know how to sew a dye-sublimated costume. And that's what I'm going to show you today. Now, dye-sub costumes are awesome because they've got the design and the muscle shading, everything all printed right there on the costume itself. And maybe you're wondering, can't I just order one of these from one of those Chinese and Thai places? Yes, you can. But why would you do that when you can have the satisfaction of doing it yourself? So, step 1, the first thing you need is a digital file. And for that, I recommend going to 4neodesigns.com. There are hundreds of characters and costumes to choose from, but the latest ones all have the Creative Costuming logo in the top right corner. That's because I actually helped with the design layout for these costumes. And that's what I'll be using for this tutorial. So simply find a costume that you like, purchase it, and download it. Now, all of these are pre-fitted for an average adult male who's about 6 feet tall with an average or athletic build. So if you're significantly bigger or smaller than that, you'll need to edit the file using some photo editing software. And if you need some help with that, let me know and I can make a how-to video for that sometime in the future. But for now, let's assume everyone's roughly average size. Step 2 is getting the file printed. And for that, you've got 2 options. You can go to fabricondemand.com or you can go to spoonflower.com. Both of these are great places to get your designs printed. But what you need to do is upload your file to either of those websites and choose the type of fabric you want. Make sure that you're choosing Lycra or spandex on both websites. Then place your order. Your fabric should arrive within 10 days to 2 weeks. And once it arrives, it should look like this, or at least something like this, depending on what character you're doing. So step 3 obviously is going to be cutting this pattern out. But that's really very self-explanatory, so I figured we're just going to skip to step 4, which is the sewing. And to show you just how easy this project is, I'm going to have my 12-year-old son demonstrate it for you. You ready to go?
Let's do it.
Once you've got all of your pieces cut out, you should end up with a variety of pieces like this, including the front of the bodysuit, the back of the bodysuit, the front and back of the mask, the sleeves, the palms, and the bottom of the feet. All of these pieces will line up with another piece in order to sew them together. We're going to start with something simple, which is the bottom of the foot and the heel. So what you do is you just take the bottom of the foot and lay it like this on the back of the leg. And you'll notice that this lines up perfectly at the bottom edge. And we're just going to sew those 2 pieces together. For this stitch, you'll be using the G presser foot, and you'll be using stitch number 7 if you're using a Brother sewing machine. This is a stretch stitch that overlocks the edge and seals it. As you're sewing, you're going to want to be careful to keep the top and bottom pieces of fabric lined up with each other, and you want them to be pressed flush against the edge of that presser foot. As you can see, your seam should look like this, following this outer edge on both sides. And when flipped right side out, you'll have a nice little cup for your heel. Next, we're going to move on to the crotch piece. That's a little bit more difficult. This piece goes right here like this. And this edge sews along down this leg, and this edge sews along down this leg. So in order to get proper placement, we're going to mark it with a Sharpie very carefully along the edge. So this is where you'll begin. The point of the diamond should meet right there, and then you should end right here. Once you get to the center, the top of the two legs, you'll need to stop, lift the presser foot, and adjust the diamond so that it lines back up with the other leg, and then go straight down that leg. Alright, once you finish the stitching, you should have your diamond piece fitting just like this. This will be the bottom back of the bodysuit, and it's attached to both of those legs. Next, we're going to move on to the sleeves. Again, we're going to stick with the back of the bodysuit, and we're going to sew one sleeve at a time onto it. You want to make sure that you've got the right sleeve. This is the left side of the bodysuit, and this is the left sleeve. You can tell simply because of the way the thumb is positioned. So these pieces here will line up with each other, and we simply flip them, line it up, and sew them together just like we've done everything else so far. Alright, as you can see, this is the way that the sleeve lines up with the bodysuit. You're going to want to do the exact same thing for the other side, and then you're going to attach the front of the bodysuit to the other side of the sleeve. And we do that the same way. This is how it should line up. So we simply flip and sew these two pieces together along this edge. Okay, once you finish attaching both sleeves to both the front and back of the bodysuit, you should have something that looks like this. And when you flip that right side out, it will look like this. Next, we're going to move on to the gloves. Before sewing the arm together, we need to attach the palm to the back of the glove. And first, this works exactly the same way everything else does. We line up the palm face down on the back of the glove, which is face up. And we're just going to stitch around this edge all the way around every finger until we get back down to here. Once you're done sewing around all of the outer edge of the fingers, you should have something that looks like this. Go ahead and do that for both hands, of course, and then we're going to come back to that later. And now we're going to sew these two sides together by folding the sleeve together like this. We'll sew straight down this edge to the armpit, which is where these two seams will come together. Then you're going to follow that edge all the way down the side of the body, making sure to line up things like the belt and other design elements. Then we're going to sew all the way down the leg, making sure that the boots line up together. And then you're going to sew all the way down around the bottom of the foot, and you'll notice that this heel should lay flat like that. You'll sew all the way down around the bottom edge of the foot. Back up to the crotch, and then all the way down around the edge of the other leg, back up the other side seam, all the way down the arm on the other side.
Okay, so once you're done sewing the back of the bodysuit to the front of the bodysuit, you should have something that looks about like this. And now you can go ahead and sew the wrists together, which is really easy. It's just a straight line. And then we can go ahead and get started on the neck.
Alright, this is your neck piece, and in order to attach it, we're just going to fold it in half. Make sure that the bottom edges line up perfectly. And there's a line that goes right across the center to let you know where that center line is. And we're going to attach this to the neckline of the bodysuit, which is down here. And you'll notice that I already pre-cut a line for where the zipper is going to go. Now some of you might prefer to put a U-shaped zipper that goes down along the side of the bodysuit and around the belt and then back up. But I just prefer the center straight zipper because it's simple and easier to get in and out of. So what we're going to do is take this and we're going to sew this neck piece right along the edge of the neck. And you're going to be sewing through 3 layers of fabric, so you have to make sure that they don't slip away from you while you're trying to sew.
Once you're finished attaching the neck, it should look like this. And then we can go on to adding the zipper. And for this, we can either follow the instructions on the back of the zipper, or watch my dad's previous video, how to make a spandex bodysuit. Once you've installed the zipper, you're done with the bodysuit and ready to move on to the mask.
As you can see, the mask comes in 2 pieces. For the back, we're going to cut this down the center and install another zipper that opens at the bottom and stops at the top. That'll make it easier for you to get your head into the mask. For the front, we simply fold this over and stitch along this curve and along this curve. And here's how these pieces should look once you have attached the zipper and sewn along these edges. As you can see, I also trimmed away a little bit of the neck because there's some excess. Most people don't have a super long neck, and this is for my son whose neck is a little shorter. Now what we're going to do is we're going to attach the front of the mask to the back of the mask. The easiest way to do this is to start at the top. Sew all the way down along this edge. You'll have to adjust as you go to make sure that the pieces line up. And then go back and sew all the way down the other edge. That way you make sure that your center stays in the center all the way around. Once you finish sewing, the back of the mask and inside of it should look like this. You've got your zipper going down the center, and we can unzip that, flip it right side out, and here's what we've got. Now all you have left to do is hem it and go try it on. Well, as you can see, this project is all finished. I hope this video was a blessing to you. If it was, please give it a like and maybe think about subscribing. We've got some more videos coming up in the near future. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section. And if you'd like to see more of Joshua, go check out his YouTube channel, Nerdboy Reviews. He's reviewing all of the superhero movies as they come out. In the meantime,
thanks for watching, God bless, and happy costuming.